for the after lunch session on the last day. How's it been going this week? Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about our launch of Canvas that happened 2 years ago at DCPS. And it's a little bit nostalgic for me right now because I realized I just started 2 years ago this week and nothing was on Canvas. So I'm going to share with you our adventure with launching Canvas as a content management through one of our big initiatives, and then also share some things that we're working on now. So before I jump in, I want to get a poll of the room. How many people are admins? Okay. Teachers? Designers? All of the above? Everybody probably, right? Okay. So, agents. We're officially agents now, right? Jared said that? Okay. So our goal today is to think about Canvas tools and how we can leverage them in a different way to enhance access and streamline communication through district initiatives, curriculum portals, school hubs. Again, this is a different approach in terms of outside of the learning management system for student instruction, which is awesome, as we all know. Also, how we can enhance professional development and collaboration around the district when launching these initiatives to get buy-in. And then finally, thinking outside the box, like our panda friend here, in terms of some different tools you could perhaps take back with you and then implement at your district or school, or just think about things a little bit differently. So the goal, again, today is we feel good, right? I like to dance. Hopefully, I heard there's a dance party tonight. Hopefully, I'll see some of you guys there. Not crap, I should have went to the session next door. I should be out paddleboarding. We don't want to feel that, okay? So let's get started and jump in. So let me tell you a little bit about DCPS and this initiative. So DCPS is currently 115 schools, and we have over 48,000 students. And 2 years ago, we launched our Cornerstone initiative, which at that point, Chancellor Henderson, our chancellor at the time, really wanted to create robust project lesson learning experiences our students would remember for years down the pipeline. So every student at every school will go through 4 Cornerstones throughout the year. Now, with this, schools were using different platforms, so we decided what platform could grow with us. So we decided on Canvas, and all of our Cornerstones were put on Canvas for teachers to access. But our Cornerstone lesson plans are pretty neat, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a teaser. You might have access to these at the end of the year. So we launched it through this initiative. Now, this thing, let's work. Okay, I got to show the kiddos, right? A couple of just so you guys get an idea of what these meaningful learning experiences are. Every second grader in the district learns how to ride a bike. Kids learn how to solve pollution problems in the city, violence, bullying, all these different memorable experiences that they can carry with them in life. And these kids just make me so happy. They're growing vegetable soup in one of the Cornerstones. So now let's talk about the Canvas tools. So what we did with rethinking the Canvas tools, and I'm going to show you guys all this and give you access to some in a minute because I'm a big fan of showing and telling and not the PowerPoint. So what we did when we launched the Cornerstones, we wanted every teacher to access these Cornerstones. And again, they were developed by our content teams, our awesome content teams, and our superstar teachers around the district to leverage them. So again, no matter what grade, what school you're at, you're going to go through these experiences. So when we put them online, central office and other departments are thinking, hey, if all of our teachers are going to one area, let's build an entire school portal where every teacher, every staff member can access things on professional development, assessments, human resources, onboarding, all the different resources. So around the Cornerstones, we built an entire intranet portal with 9,000 users. And I checked last week. Last week we had over 80% of those users accessing Canvas. And year one of Cornerstones, we had 85% of our teachers teaching Cornerstones accessing the Cornerstones. So this was huge. What's working, right? Well, A, it's great content. B, we're making it easy to get to. And C, it's a dependable system. Other things go into play, but that is what we need to remember. So all teachers, all staff have access to the portal. And then also what's really helpful about that is support staff, other teams are getting access to the curriculum and Cornerstones and thinking how they could leverage their resources to make it even better. Another thing we did was we created content team hubs on Canvas. So it had unit plans, things teachers are doing day to day, sharing professional development resources, ways to collaborate, what's going on, and also teachers sharing resources. One really cool example of that is in world languages, they're building out their curriculum, and there's a lot of different, right now they do things in 10 different languages, so there's not a set curriculum for everything. So what they're doing is we're using Canvas tools for teachers to add their lesson plans, and then we vet them, not we, meaning the awesome content people, vet them, and then share them with teachers as well. So again, rethinking a couple of these different tools. So resource hubs on Canvas, And then obviously a small pilot for classroom instruction. And I want to tell a little story about this as well, because when I'm thinking back to year one, Canvas was a new thing. The biggest question was, hey, Nicole, how long is this going to be around, right? We just signed our 3rd-year contract. I'm sure a lot of people get that, yeah. So people are seeing value in it. They're going to it. And what also I think is really cool about this approach is we modeled the tools and the teachers were students. So it wasn't so intimidating of new platform, new curriculum, new tools to teach. It was a scaffolded approach. And of course, we had the early adopters that were like, give it all to me, and took it and ran with it. But it's been a gradual approach, and as we're launching one-to-one at 6 of our middle schools this year, teachers are like, oh yeah, Canvas, oh yeah, this tool. And the training has been the training has worked out a lot better than all of these tools and new devices introduced to them at one time. So that's really important. I love the modeling aspect with teachers as students. And P.S., you can change the names of the roles, because I got so many questions of, I'm a teacher, not a student. Does anybody ever get that when they're the student? Okay. I mean, it's a support inbox. And you guys feel free to ask questions. Oh, I'm going too fast here. Okay. Let's go to this, and then I'm going to jump in. So I want to talk about PD real quick, if I can get to this slide. So what we did to get teachers on board, accessing the system, was we built professional development around the Cornerstone initiative in year one. So teachers, when they met 4 times a year face-to-face, they accessed the Cornerstones, they shared experiences, and then also at the same time, we were sharing student work around the district when they were submitting them. Also, we had discussions going on. We had automated professional development exit tickets, because some teams at that time were, having people sign and then doing the whole paper thing. I'm like, let's do a survey in Canvas, print out the CSV, have it automated in modules, access the certificate, give it to their schools. So we automated exit tickets and certificates of completion for PD in modules, and then again, the surveys as well. But the big thing was getting teachers access, understanding the system, and then showing value and having the content delivered in an intuitive way. And then finally, before I jump into our platform, I want to talk a little bit more about the content team resource hubs, because our teachers are living in Canvas right now. And they're living in Canvas to get their curriculum, get their resources. We're currently building out and digitizing content for student-facing instruction, so teachers don't have to do that lift all over the district. A math teacher at one high school shouldn't have to build assessments the same as a math teacher in the other high school, right? What can we do at Central to digitize our curriculum we have on Canvas in Canvas-facing tools? So right now we're working with other content teams and teachers within the hubs to get their feedback on these sorts of things, in addition to having it be a communication platform, resource repository, and just a one-stop shop for them. So let's look at it through the lens of me being a high school teacher. I log into Canvas, I access my DCPS portal. Some high schools, they access their school portal, where it's school-specific stuff. They access all of their content, and then they have their student-facing courses. Now, it's not every high school is not using student-facing courses, but that's the dream, right? A one-stop shop. And if it's not in Canvas, how can we get LTIs to get things in Canvas? So that's what I want to show you guys in action. And we actually had a huge initiative roll out last year called the LEAP Professional Development Initiative. And the big thing is with this new initiative platform, how can it live in Canvas? Why do we want teachers to log into 5 different websites? Let's create a one-stop shop where Canvas might not be the best for everything. It's not for everything. But how can we link things into it? And then one more thing before I jump into the live drive, and then I'm going to give you guys some access, is the Cornerstone network. What we did with Cornerstones in year 2 was we built the entire summer development platform online, where teachers were getting in and editing Canvas, editing the Cornerstones to make them better, to share with other teachers for year 2. We also have a group of 18 school districts around the country, Broward being one of them, and we created a Cornerstone network hub on Canvas, where these school districts are coming in and accessing all of our Cornerstones. And they're implementing it differently in their district based on their needs. And then this is really exciting. What we're working on by the end of the year is having our Cornerstones be OERs for everybody to access. So that's super exciting. And they're going to live on Canvas. There's going to be a different user interface in the front, but. Okay, let's check out and see what one of these, oh, no, not yet, agents. Let me do something first. Okay, so let's see some of this stuff in action. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be in as a teacher right now. So I have access to my portal, which is my central portal. Let's pretend I'm an elementary teacher. My elementary portal, and let's pretend I'm also a leader as well, because we just launched a leader portal, and I have access to all my leader resources. So right here with the DCPS portal, when I jump in, that happens. Hold please, where's my music? Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the DCPS portal, and this is what I call phase 1. And we have all the different departments, teaching and learning being the biggest one, and accessing their curriculum resources and cornerstones this way. And again, we have over 9,000 users accessing the portal, and they can get to the different hubs, and you don't have to be a teacher to get to the curriculum. But one other thing I want to showcase is the LEAP initiative that launched last year. Teachers access their observational feedback, and leaders can give all this great feedback and high-impact instructional models. Teachers can all get to their platform and everything they need through that LEAP platform as well. So again, creating that one-stop shop. Now, let's go into the elementary literacy to see what this thing looks like. So right in here, what we have is teachers can access information from the top, and then as you scroll down, there's different buckets that mimic what's on the top: teach and learn. Now, does anybody use Canva? Canva is pretty cool for designs. It's free. Has anybody used the Button Factory? That's kind of fun too. So teachers can access their information here, and I'm going to show you an example of a Cornerstone, and then I hope you guys are excited about this because I'm excited. I'm going to give you access to our new user interface for the content teams and our new Cornerstone template that we're not launching till Monday during new teacher orientation. So you guys are going to see it first. Don't tweet it out to everybody yet, okay? But you can tweet how awesome it is if you want. Okay. So let me show you the old one because I really want you to see the switch in the new one. And I think I talked about this at the beginning. I felt like we were in phase 1, and now we're in phase 2, and we're iterating and making things better based on teacher feedback. Because if anybody's played around with Canvas pages, sometimes it's not so fun to design. Sometimes it is, but drop downs, things like that can be a little bit complicated in terms of how they look. Okay, so right here, I went to the wrong one. This is how they access their curriculum. And then into the Cornerstone. So let's say I'm teaching grade 3, and I want to teach about, which is grade 3? I think it's about voting. Yeah, a right and a responsibility. So this is how the Cornerstones are laid out if teachers are accessing it right now, which they're not right now. Next week they will be. So it has the unit, the duration, what the Cornerstone's about, key standards associated with the Cornerstone. And then when we scroll to the bottom, this is where they're accessing all their content, their related resources, family engagement resources. So basically, in one chunk, we want teachers to know what to do before the Cornerstone, during, and after. Here's the materials you need day by day. Here are other resources. Here are tools you can give your family, so it's a family engagement type situation in terms of experience for the students. And then also special population resources for dual language, special ed, all those sorts of different populations right here. So I'm going to peruse through this, and then I'm going to show you the different one. The thing is, right, I'm clicking from tab to tab to get this stuff. Not always fun. Fun? Yeah? No? Okay. The answer is no, because the new template doesn't have this. Okay, just so we know. But right here, this is cool. They get all their materials, the Spanish resources, and then what they're doing day by day. Now, I want you to look at this, because if I'm a teacher, I have everything I need, right? But what am I doing? Click, 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 click. Have you ever experienced the click of death or the scroll of death in Canvas? Okay. So, and then instructional approach, related resources, special populations, and then family engagement. So it's really that whole picture of what a Cornerstone is, and again, that memorable learning experience. So what I want to do now is I want to get you guys into our example of what the new template looks like. So what I'm going to have you guys do is, agents, this is very your first mission. Go to this bit.ly right here, and you should be able to land on an elementary literacy landing page. Yeah, sorry. You can't see that? Everybody move to the front. Oh. Shut your eyes. There we go. Okay. Better? Like the secret agent gear? I'm on message, right, Haley? Okay. Does everybody have it? Okay, I'll leave it up for a minute. Does anybody have any questions while we're looking this up? No questions? Is anybody doing this in terms of curriculum hubs, school portals, things like that? Yeah?
Is this at the course level you have for teachers?
Yeah, so you mean how we're building the portal and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we're doing something similar. We've done the curriculum days. We've had 150 teachers come to start building up master courses. This is higher level than that, though, right? Because you're looking at across the district, where do I just go to get this stuff? We started with teachers at the course level. So I guess my question is, have you started working on course level materials yet that a teacher could essentially clone into their course for their students?
Absolutely, yeah. So just in case not everybody heard his question is, are we working on student-facing materials for curriculum? And that's what, yeah, so what we're doing right now is, since we have all of our curriculum up, our scope and sequence and some curriculum was being developed the past year or two, now we're working on digitizing those resources to be student-facing. So the cornerstones I'm talking about, before it was Canvas still is a content management system when you look at it through the lens of our school portal, right? It is content management, communication, sharing between teachers and staff. But what we're doing is we're building up our repository of that student-facing instruction. So if I'm a teacher teaching this 4th grade or 7th grade Cornerstone and or unit, I can import that information that's been digitized so I have that floor and not a ceiling. And that's a big thing that we've talked about with Cornerstones and also with supporting teachers is how can we create this floor for teachers? Because so many teachers are going to take what we do and blow it out of the water and make it 100 times better, right? But how can we enhance equity and make a floor for every teacher? And then those superstar teachers that are taking it to the umpteenth level, sharing it back with us. And that's when the community really comes into play when we're talking about sharing and scaffolding that information. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so are you guys in now? Okay, I haven't heard any oohs and ahs yet. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let me get back here this way. Okay, so this is what our new template looks like. And I have somebody new on the Canvas team, Jeremy, who's right here. High five, woo, Jeremy. Jeremy's coming and bringing his design eye. And how can we, since we have all the content up and the resources up, make this a more easy, intuitive, less clicks, less scrolling experience for our teachers within the confines of Canvas pages? And then also what can we bring in to enhance Canvas pages? And then also at the same time make it look good on mobile. He's got a big job coming up. No pressure, no pressure. So what Jeremy's done, which is really cool, is instead of scrolling down and having the icons, every page will have the drop-down menu. Now, you guys can't get into everything on the drop-down menu, and it might not look like a drop-down menu right now, but what you can get into is cornerstones. So again, if I'm a teacher, I can get to all parts of the portal and everything I need. Because we have a whole section on assessments, but if I'm an ELA teacher, what assessment information do I need access to? How can we streamline things within these curriculum hubs? So again, working with the drop-down menu and really streamlining the look and feel for teachers as well. So what you guys have access to, if you scroll down, is to the Teach button. And this Cornerstone link is live. So within this Cornerstone, this is the new template. And this is what we're rolling out some of these templates next week during we have new teacher orientation on Monday. Whew. Work, 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 right? So what we have at the top is we have an image of the Cornerstone in action, making it relevant. And then a summary of the Cornerstone, and then a snapshot of everything the teacher would need to know from standards. And then that materials is one download of everything the teacher will need. And I don't know if you remember the other template. I know I showed you it very quickly, but it's a lot of clicks, 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 clicks. So just a snapshot, how can we get all the information to the teachers that they need to deliver for face-to-face instruction? And also what's going to be this is phase 2 or 1.2, whatever we want to call it. But what we want to do for the next phase is embed a video there and teachers talking about those experiences and then students talking about those experiences. So again, through the lens of a new teacher or a teacher that maybe have moved grade levels and is learning about this Cornerstone, how can this come to life with the information? Because not everybody's going to read every little thing. So that is a snapshot up at the top. And then as we scroll down, we have access to resources again. Because some teacher might have downloaded a file and they need to come back real quick and, oh, I just need my rubrics. So laying out the information this way. And what's really cool about Cornerstones is they get a supply kit with the Cornerstone. So we have students making podcasts, doing maker spaces, growing vegetables, doing all sorts of things. And going back to that equity talk, every single school is getting access to these resources to bring this Cornerstone to life, which is really, really cool. And then also the curriculum integration piece right here. And we have a couple tabs right here. So standards, prior knowledge, and then planning and instructional model. And then finally, lessons and pacing, a snapshot of what they're doing day to day. And some Cornerstones are a couple hours, and some Cornerstones are 2 weeks in length. So the goal is to let's give them something in a snapshot right there, and then eventually download everything and go. So what do you guys think, the difference between the old and the new? You're my beta audience. Okay, snaps. Okay. I promised some of you guys I'd buy you drinks later, right? The ones that cheered? I have some extra drink tickets. Okay, so this is the new platform. Any questions on how we designed some things or just our approach? Because I want to share some other things we're working on, but I want to answer these questions first.
Well, I wanted, if I can, just tell a very interesting story. Because Brad did go down to DC and visit with your people, and on the airplane, it should work. There you go. On the airplane ride back, one of our staff members sat next to a parent who actually knows very well about the Cornerstones. And so your family piece there is very, very critical. And the parent was raving about the opportunity to interact intelligently with their child over the Cornerstone. So I just thought that you might like to hear that.
Thank you. And Dr. Karen Cole runs the Cornerstone Initiative, and her team and content team, this has been a group effort. I manage the Canvas side of it. And they've done such amazing work, and seeing parents involved in the parent booklets that we published, and it's just really a whole school and a whole community, and DC's highlighting these experiences, in the WAPO, Washington Post, and things like that. It's really cool, because the whole point is something memorable. You remember when you're 40, like Jared was talking about today, memorable experiences in the classroom. And I'm really excited we're going to share this with everybody, and people can take them and make them their own and, tailor them to your district. So thank you for that. I'll pass that along to Karen and her team, too. Yes?
Two quick questions. How many people are on the layout design team?
One, it was me, and now it's me and two people, yeah.
With the layout, and then teachers populated the content?
No, so with the layout, we did two different things. So with the portal and the original Cornerstones and things like that, we built that all on our end when we launched Canvas 2 years ago. Then in terms of training, obviously you have to build capacity. I was a team of one for a while. In terms of capacity, training content teams to own and build their pages, and then training teachers that were editing those Cornerstones to build those pages. It was the teach to fish approach, right? Let's teach you about Canvas, understand the tools, and then you now own certain aspects with us, behind the scenes, providing supports. But Jeremy's role is he's redesigning the look and feel of the templates, and then he's going to be working behind the scenes this next year. That portal and the drop-downs, he's doing a complete redesign, rehaul of everything. With teacher feedback, admin feedback. How can we make this the best site to support our teachers and supporting our students? And then the other side of that is digitizing that content and supporting classroom instruction and also professional development around that all. So again, no pressure, Jeremy.
But I think to your question, summer for like the last, every summer. Hello. Every summer for the last, 3-4 years?
No, it's 2.
No, more than that. Curriculum teams have invited teachers, and they've been developing this content. So yeah, we're not starting from scratch. Essentially, our job is just to create great templates so that the user experience is consistent between content areas.
Yeah, and then the Cornerstones were 2 years ago. And Jeremy comes from the elementary ELA team, so I was highlighting that. He's moving on up in the DC world. So any other questions? No? I'll share some other things we're working on. How much time do I have left? 15, okay. Well, then let's look at some other things. Okay, normally this takes longer. Okay, so I want to share a couple other things we're working on, and then I'll show you some different templates, and then let me know if you guys want to see anything more in particular. So let me blow this up. So these are upcoming missions. So I talked to you guys about the Cornerstone OER project. What we launched last week was a school leadership portal. What leaders requested is, hey, we want a dashboard of information so we're not digging through that portal, right? Let me know what's going on in my classrooms. When I walk into my grade 5 ELA classroom versus my grade 5 science, give me a snapshot of what's going on in my school. Give me access to those resources at a high level, assessment information, things leaders need to know. So last week, was it last week? Last week or the week before, we launched a school leader dashboard, and leaders can access this high-level information and then also access things that were built specifically on Canvas for school leaders, such as Impact, which is our rating system for teachers, LMER resources. Also, we're doing a huge launch. We have a new chancellor who started in February, Chancellor Wilson. He's awesome, and one of his big initiatives is social emotional learning. So providing professional development and resources for social emotional learning for leaders and, of course, teachers as well. So that's been something really exciting that we launched last week. It was iteration 1. We asked principals via the Canvas survey tool, what else do you want to see, and how can we make this better for you? And the goal is to really make it look good on mobile, right? Because principals, leaders are walking around on their phone back and forth. So that's one thing we're looking at or working on. I can show you guys that. Also, we have the district portal. Some schools are leveraging school portals as well. So how can we build those templates for them to plug and play their information so they're not using a Google site or they're emailing 25 attachments? Nobody should be digging through emails anymore. Let's get everything in one system so it's there when people need it. Also, to your question before, master courses, digitizing the curriculum, and then also the cornerstones to really have that floor for teachers, but not a ceiling, so they can turnkey this into student-facing instruction, and then getting our students' feedback throughout this. Another thing we're building, and actually it just launched this week, is our Canvas Online Learning Center. It's a one-stop shop for everything Canvas related. People can sign up for workshops, for training. Other schools need more support than certain schools, but how can we as a team automate this and provide everybody the support they need? And this, I'm really excited about this because we've had training hubs in the past with access to resources, but this is a really robust one based on 2 years of knowing what teachers are asking, what leaders are asking, what resources they need in an easy way, it's an easy to consume way, and then how we can provide supports and make sure we're out in schools constantly during morning collabs, after school, supporting our teachers, doing great work with our students. So that's been really exciting, and the Canvas community is awesome, we all know that, but sometimes teachers don't have time to sift through everything. So what they're doing in terms of master courses and the tools, how can we provide that information to them quickly, and when they need it, those just-in-time type trainings. So we're really excited about that. The LEAP initiative is our district-wide professional development initiative that started last year, and we're currently building, I shouldn't say we're building out templates, but the LEAP team is building everything in Canvas. So they're LEAP leaders, are living in Canvas for all of their resources as well, which is really cool. And then I talked to you guys a little bit about this social emotional learning. And this initiative, which is, I feel like we've been talking about this the whole week, right? The whole child. How many people are still geeked out on Jewel? I was like, oh my God, I'm still excited. So, but it's just the whole child approach, but how can we leverage Canvas to give people the resources they need, and then also sharing back resources to create collaboration around the district. Because when you have 115 schools, guess what happens? Silos happen. How can we leverage technology to break down these silos for our teachers, especially with new initiatives? And then, of course, professional development. We have professional development in Canvas for certain grade bands, and then also building out that library of just-in-time training. I envision a library in Canvas of professional development courses where teachers can self-enroll, and it could be a short tutorial on a software program to something more robust when they need it. They print out a certificate at the end, then they plug it into the PLU system, and it's been automated, and the training's built when they need it. How can we leverage technology so when we're meeting face-to-face, we make this a meaningful interaction? So again, rethinking some of those tools and automating processes when we can. And then, of course, Jeremy, I should have put a big Jeremy and then check mark next to that, platform redesign as well. So we're working on some awesome stuff. We're constantly learning. We've made some mistakes. And what I love about these conferences and just the community and people I've met the past 2 years is how we can share these resources. We're not the best at everything. We have, again, like I said, a lot of things to learn, but how can we share what's worked with us or templates that could help you guys? And then, and how can you share things we still need to learn about? Canvas Commons, because I've heard some stories about that from some districts. But that sharing culture. So I really hope you guys, any questions you have, feel free. We're happy to share templates, information. We're excited to share our cornerstones. The announcement hasn't been made the exact date, but last time I heard it's supposed to be towards the end of the school year. So that's pretty cool. So more to come, and we'll definitely let Canvas know so you guys can push out something to everybody that's heard about this. And then again, any questions you have for us, or also anything you guys want to share? Any hands? Yes?
Can you talk just for a second about your internal discussions regarding opening those up?
Oh, yeah, so that's,
What was that like?
yeah. So his question was our internal discussions around opening up our cornerstones as open ed resources. Is that accurate? Okay. So this is exactly what happened. So our Cornerstone initiative was funded by Bloomberg and Schusterman Foundation 2 years ago. And they really wanted to set a model for what does this equitable project-based learning experiences look like, And then how, once we figure this out and iterate and make things better based on feedback, because, you know, you need a little bit of time, right? Year one, they weren't all as robust as they could have been. And a lot of them went through a redevelopment year two, but now they're at a really good spot. So after that, then how can we get other districts' ideas on what's working, what's not, getting their feedback, and having that collaboration with the 18 districts, and then opening it up to everybody. And then through the lens of use it in pieces, use the whole thing, and then make it your own. So that was the discussion, which it's been a pretty cool experience. And then just learning more about the OER platforms and all that as well. It's been cool. Any other questions? Yes.
Challenges did you face getting everyone in the district involved in using Canvas, and how did you overcome those?
Yeah, that's a great question. So challenges in the district to get everybody on Canvas. So I remember my first presentation was like a windstorm. It was, you know, 2 years ago. And the first question I got was, how long is this going to be around? I mean, that was in always. So how we got around that was, well, two things. Prior to that, there wasn't a stable portal that had curriculum resources and things for teachers in a way that provided them what they needed. So that was kind of a win going into Canvas. But then how can we design it, and then the content teams do their awesome work and teachers do their awesome work to give them what they need so they find value in it. And then continually hammering it with PD, and not PD about Canvas. I don't like the button pushing for button pushing's sake. How can we use Canvas as a vehicle for all these things, right? It's not about Canvas. It's the vehicle to get certain things done, learning to happen, collaborations. So it was always through the lens of this is your content or this is how you can use it. And it kept being iterated and talked about in every single professional development, no matter if you're in a Cornerstone or in a completely different professional development. It became everybody get logged into Canvas. Everybody get logged into Canvas. And that's where they had to go to find things they needed to do day to day and then also collaborate. So it wasn't all of a sudden everybody was on board, right? It took some time. But by the end of the year, even by December, going out to schools, getting feedback, I mean, people were on it. And for 85% of the Cornerstone teachers to access their resources by the end of year one, that was pretty powerful in terms of numbers. So, but again, it's no easy feat. And I think now what's been really exciting is going into a professional development, like all the principals. It's like, hey, everybody get logged into Canvas. Canvas is just a no now. Nobody talks about that sort of thing anymore. It's like, hey, how can we leverage this more? Because again, getting experience with these different tools, leaders are thinking, how can I leverage this in my building? Teachers, how can I leverage this in my classroom? So looking at it through the lens of different tools they can use to accomplish what their objectives are, and seeing value in that. Other questions?
This is kind of a nuts and bolts one, but
Okay.
I heard you talk about one thing. I just heard a snippet of you talking about the curriculum. Everybody, whether you're a teacher or not, everybody having access to it. And then I'm pretty sure I understand what you're talking about when you're talking about your shell courses.
Uh-huh.
Those are not one and the same.
Correct.
So can you talk to me about one, how where you have the curriculum and
Yeah. Okay, great question. So when they're in the portal, that's just access to downloadable resources and interactions and things they can do. That's more for teacher consumption, no matter if you're using Canvas or if you're not. So, and then also all support staff can access this. When we talk about digitizing, we're going to be using blueprints to push those out, to push that course material out, which is different than what they're finding on the Curriculum Hub. But as we build out more and more curriculum, we need to change that look and feel of, okay, you're face-to-face, or you're using this with Discovery Textbook versus you're using this with Canvas. So as we rethink the design and more teachers are leveraging this, and as we have more content, we got to rethink of what that looks like when they're accessing that through the portal.
Well, so in terms of, I'm a building principal,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to meet with this teacher and Spanish 1 teacher, and before I have that meeting, I want to know something about that curriculum. Just standards, learning targets, that kind of curriculum. I don't need the master course type thing. I just want to see that. So I would go to the portal.
Correct.
And I see those things.
Correct.
But I'm not going to see any of the student-facing sort of.
You got it.
There. That's what you're using as a master, the shell.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, but what we really need to think about is how can we showcase some of that to leaders as they're observing and things like that. So that's what we're thinking through right now.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Getting access to all of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have any ideas about that? Got to share? Yeah, but that's a great point. That's something we've been talking about thinking through as we're digitizing more content.
Doing both in the same So we're kind of stuck.
Okay, got it.
So the flip side is the people who do need access to all of those, they have to have an admin-like role. So that they can get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To
Food for
piggyback on
thought.
that, are those portals just courses that you enroll the teachers in, or is there another layer in the admin console?
So everything is in courses. So our portal has over 9,000 users in the
So
course.
it's a course that everyone has access to.
Yeah, and then we have ways, you guys know about join this course, self-enroll and things like that, yeah. So there's ways to get to what you need. And then also things that not everybody has access to lives off the portal. Like the School Leader Hub is just for school leaders. So we enrolled, via SIS and all that, and then our SIS, so. Any other questions? Yes. Oh, back here.
You guys in Broward, there's an idea on Canvas's community about universal search options so that you don't have to do lots of clicks and things, especially for admins and principals and things. You guys in Broward should get together and lean on Canvas to make that happen. Because it's been there since 2000.
Lean on them a lot.
Yeah.
And,
Alan, we've been talking about that, remember?
Yeah, so it's actually on that front hacky list.
Yeah.
It's number 13.
I was bummed it wasn't 7. Or, I was bummed it wasn't 1, but anyway, sorry to interrupt.
They were still having to research how much engineering and depth
Got it.
would take to complete something like that, because you're talking about the entirety of Canvas, right?
Right,
Search
yeah.
is going to have the ability to
catalog that stuff.
Right,
Not
so-
fun for you guys.
Yeah.
That's why they
But
need
you heard Mitch Benson yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's something we've been talking about for a while, because that would be the dream in terms of clicks. And that's the big thing, because we had so we're moving to Microsoft 365, which we're excited about the integration with Canvas, but we're easing our folks off of Google. And a lot of things prior to this were built on Google Sites, but the problem was there was 150 Google Sites. So again, having everything linked in one platform, but that's the number one thing is that search feature, right? That we lost, so Brad will have to talk. Yeah.
Tying into that, you really do bring up a very good point, not only leaning on our partnership with Canvas, but our partnerships with each other.
Yeah.
Back to your open ed resource point, we're all working really, really hard, and we're all doing really, really good work.
Mhm.
Why aren't we sharing this really, really good work with each other?
Yeah.
And so I applaud you for opening it up, and I know Broward is also trying to do the same thing. Once we perfect what it is we're doing, open it up, get feedback from other people. It might not be something that you can use exactly the way it's created, but it's certainly something that you can then go ahead and adapt and adjust to your needs.
Absolutely.
As well taken.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Thanks. So any questions, let me know. I'll be up here with Jeremy. I have a contact information. Top secret stuff,